There it is.
Sorry.
Hey, this is Keith Williams with the Skill Stadium podcast. I am excited tonight. Today's episode is all about the plumbing profession and what it takes to be successful and why it's one of the hottest trades out there. You want to tune in because you're going to learn and get some great advice from a professional who actually hires people, and you'll learn what they are looking for. My guest today is a master plumber from Calgary, Alberta. That's in Canada. He's a third-generation plumber and owner of Baker Plumbing Company. His grandfather started this company in 1956. He believes that your job gives you authority, your behavior gives you respect. My guest is a father of 5 children. He lives on a farm and keeps goats. Please welcome Bob Baker to the Skill Stadium podcast. Bob, how are you this evening?
Keith, I'm fantastic. Delighted to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And I got to say, Bob, I appreciate your patience. We actually had a bit of a snafu. We got this podcast started all the way to the end, and I forgot to hit the record button. So Bob has been a great sport, and we're going at this again. Honestly, I was really excited to have Bob because, Bob, you and I connected on LinkedIn. And
We did.
I saw Bob was on a podcast for Miss Learnings, and I just admired, I admired that company, that person who does that podcast, and I really admired what I saw with Bob. So I think I was a little excited, got started, and forgot to hit record. So, Bob.
It happens to all the ladies, Keith. Don't feel bad, man.
Okay.
It's not the first time that people have been Twitter pated.
Yes. Well, it's a lesson I think I'll learn. I'm going to be a lot more, pay a lot more attention to detail when I get started. So Bob, talk to me about the goats. You live on a farm, you have some goats. Can you tell us how that experience has been?
The farm experience has been absolutely out of this world. We've been at it for 20 years. And so the initial, or why we did it, was to give my kids something to do, something to do over the summer, something to wake up every morning with a job to do. And so it's sort of morphed into just a garden and, a couple of dogs to goats and bees and chickens. And the goats have been it's been just great. The kids have enjoyed it. It's been a rewarding experience for them and for us. And honestly, it hasn't been easy. There's been some unpleasantness to it, but really the results have been spectacular, I would say. And we're pretty proud of the farm as well.
Definitely. I'll tell you something that's cool. I saw a video on LinkedIn where the goats were moving about, and it reminded me of dogs. It's the first thing that jumped in my head. And I know they're goats, but that's kind of the first thing I thought about when I saw them jumping around.
Yeah, when you get 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of them all together, it's like a little rumble tumble king of the hill. They are spastic, and they're just, I don't know what word to put on them. They're just a joy to watch, fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Bob, your father and your grandfather, they were plumbers. How did they prepare you? Because that's a wealth of knowledge. How did they prepare you and influence you to become the plumber that you are today?
I don't think it was an intentional process. I started, my earliest memories are right in the truck ad and working for him. From about 8th grade on, I spent every summer and probably every weekend working for my dad. And a lot of that time was simply just watching him work, handing him tools, watching the process, and seeing him work through a variety of circumstances and situations with inspectors and wholesalers and clients, both happy and unhappy, other contractors. And so it was just sort of a learning by observation and absorption, I guess, where I find myself now in similar circumstances. And like you say, that's just sort of gets played back. I can see that situation I was in watching my dad when I was 14 and be able to use that information in a situation I am in right now and change it a bit to meet the existing circumstances. But it really, like you said, it's just a wealth, a treasure. I don't know how you repeat that, but I'm truly blessed to have spent so much time with them and be able to continue using that information every day in the clientele that I serve and with my kids, and it's awesome.
Speaking of kids, are any of your kids following in your footsteps?
They are.
Generation of plumbers for Bakers?
Yeah, the fourth generation is well underway. My oldest son just got his journeyman ticket in January, and my next oldest son is about halfway through.
Awesome.
So he'll have his in the next couple of years. So I think the Baker Generation 4 is well looked after and on its way. So that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're getting them ready. So
I am. I'm really mean to them. So I told them if they can handle me, then they can handle anything that the world can throw at them. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. I love hearing that. So talk to me about the skills and character traits it takes to be a successful plumber. How do you measure success?
That's a tough one. I would say, for me anyway, the most important characteristics are to be reliable, followed by probably some tenacity. You got to have good communication skills. You got to be able to express yourself positively, well, without any profanity, which
Yep.
is harder and harder to do these days for some of the kids. You got to have some sympathy and empathy for the people that you work for. Most of them are in a stressful situation. They're unhappy with what's going on in their life at that particular moment, and you are the answer to those problems. So, you got to have some ingenuity and some troubleshooting skills to provide the solution that they're looking for, and be able to follow through with that and save the day, make their world a better place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We know that there's a skills gap now, and it seems to be getting worse with a lot of workers retiring. How do we close this gap? How do we get more young people into the skilled trades?
I really think that I know this is going to be your next question, but I really think that the presence and the information that we put out there on social media can really influence, because that's where all my kids are, that's where all their friends are, is showing the positive things that the trade world can bring to their lives, the problem solving abilities. The trade is just a marvelous place to raise a family, to provide for your family, to feel some success and value in your own life. I'm biased, but I don't know if there's another place where every single day I can solve between 8 and 12 problems that people are so delighted that they'll pay me gobs of money to fix it for them and repeat it the next day.
Yes.
So the skills gap, like I say, part of the problem that we find is there's that reliability is just tough to find, that tenacity, that ability to follow through when things are tough and things are it's bad news everywhere, it's an awful day, and you're still being able to slog through that and show up the next morning and ready to tackle it again. That's what the trade takes. Is if you're going to be successful in that, it's not 3 days on and 4 days off like firefighters. It's literally it's 365 days a year. I mean, I've worked on Christmas Day, I've worked on my kids' birthdays, I've worked when it's inconvenient to work. That's the gap that I see. And I just to repeat what we talked about in our previous session, Keith. I sound like my dad, but the kids today just seem to be missing the grit that it takes to do it every day, and to do it well every day. Not just show up, but to show up and participate and be part of the solution.
Definitely.
Is what the trade takes. Any trade, for sure.
And when people call you for a problem, it's an emergency. It's pretty serious. People are not just calling a plumber just for any old reason. That's something they want fixed right away.
The interesting thing about the path that we've taken in the trade is I don't have a lot of scheduled work like we obviously do, when we replace boilers and so on and so forth. But every day we get 4 or 5 calls that are legit emergencies. Like, listen, how quickly can you be here? I'll be there in 30 minutes, right? And so with that, you never know. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I have no idea. I could be anywhere doing anything. And so you got to be able to sort of navigate those paths, those rapids, and do it successfully so that those people have the confidence to call you back on next Tuesday when they have another emergency, whatever that might be.
So, you took over this business in '94 before social media existed. Your company has a strong social media presence. How has that affected your business?
Keith, it's been nothing but positive, really. I mean, there's a few haters out there, and there's a few people that try and, get under your skin to ruffle your feathers or whatever the case may be. But for 99% of our experiences have been just out of this world home runs. We get to meet so many fantastic people. Part of my, we talked about family. Our family was super tight. I didn't talk to a lot of other plumbers because I talked to them. If I had a question, I asked my grandpa or my dad. I didn't have to go to outside sources, right? So there wasn't a whole lot of interaction with your quote unquote competition. But with the social media game, like, I'm talking to people the world over, Russia, Australia, South America, all over the United States, all over Canada. It's, just fantastic to see and associate with like-minded professionals that are changing the world for the better. You're not alone. I live in Calgary. I am not alone in my process of trying to do good in the world. There's dozens and dozens of fantastic plumbers in Calgary, but you multiply that by 1,000, and I've traveled to not exotic places, but foreign places to meet other plumbers, and just honestly been blown away at how wonderful they are, how accommodating they are, how much we have in common. This is my 3rd or 4th or 5th podcast, and it just, you and I would have never spoken ever in our whole lives if it wasn't for social media. And so those ties are real. And if you are truly yourself, I think it brings nothing but great things. And you brush off the odd dude that's there to try and batter your ego, bruise your ego, and carry on and just know who you are and what you do, and everything's great. It really is a wonderful, certainly on the Instagram world and LinkedIn world, is just I can't speak highly enough of it.
I agree with
really.
you. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think also because you came up at a time, like both you and I, when there wasn't any social media. Like you already have good people skills. So this just amplifies it, just really increases your reach. So huge benefit with the platform on social media, just increasing your reach and amplifying a skill set that you already have.
Yeah, I agree.
So talk to me, what makes Baker Plumbing a great place to work? Putting you on the spot.
I know, like you say. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, it's a fantastic place to work. Awesome. Mondays and Fridays, it sucks. I'm grumpy and I'm mean and I'm opinionated, and nobody can question how I want something done. You can ask my kids and anybody that's worked for me. That's exactly how it goes. It's, we love what we do. We are a dynamic company. We do lots of stuff well. That's one of our great strengths is we, do everything from drains to boilers to HVAC to air conditioning to, cross connections, septics, wells. There's nothing that we don't do. And that's it's based on my own background of working with my dad and my grandpa. They had different skill sets and different focuses on the trade, and I was able to sort of glean what I wanted from all that stuff and then apply it into the business that we've set up today. And so, if you work for Baker Plumbing, there's nothing you won't do. It gives you if you spend 5 years with me, you would have a fantastic base for whatever you decided to do with the rest of your plumbing career, whether that was, going into the service industry or the residential or new construction, or you wanted to go into wholesale, the sales side of things. You would have an understanding of what most of those plumbers walk in and ask you for advice on. So
the majority of your work, you would say, is residential, commercial. Where do you guys focus on?
Most of our stuff is what we would call commercial service. So we do a lot of work with sort of the hospitality focused industries, arenas, casinos, hotels, restaurants, some of the retail, big box stores, that sort of thing. We sort of work in the guts of those buildings to make sure that they function properly, and that from the guest experience, everything's fantastic. Behind that closed door where it says employees only, it's mayhem because we're fixing stuff so that you don't know anything's gone sideways.
So I would say you probably are looking for more seasoned employees who have some experience.
Yeah, we have hired a few, first years and a couple of guys with very little experience. That usually doesn't work out very well because it's kind of like taking a drink from a fire hose.
Sure.
There's a lot of information going on. So we try and hire someone that's got a couple of years experience under their belt so that they can walk into a 10,000 square foot mechanical room and have some idea of, what the landmarks are and where they need to go to fix whatever problem that they're looking at. And if they have to reach out to me or one of our senior techs, then, we can talk the vernacular of what's going on at that particular moment, right? It's not that little thingamajiggy that's shaped like a baseball. I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't know what that is. Tell me what the real name of it is, type of thing.
Yeah. Understood. So Skill Stadium, we have a platform where we use video to match employers and job seekers. And the goal, the objective of it is to make sure that you're bringing the right people in for interviews by having these people create video profiles. Is that something that could help you in determining which candidates to bring in for a job interview? I'd be curious on your feedback on being able to view video, say like an elevator pitch or them doing work, how that would help your hiring process.
I mean, I think that's the way it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more convenient. It's so much less time consuming to sit down for 15 minutes. Nobody's taking taxis or buses or driving to have a face-to-face meeting. the beauty of the video, just like we're doing here, is if I ask you a question and you give me a blank stare, I know you have no idea. If you go to a textbook and start reading, I still know you have no idea, but at least you know where to go look, which is a positive. Or if you can rattle it off like a pro by looking at me in the eyes the entire time we're talking, then I'm like, yeah, that's somebody who's got the experience that we're looking for. Like I say, in the post-COVID world, which we sort of just jumped out of a couple of days ago, frankly, you guys are a couple of months out of it. That's how we did business, really, was through FaceTime and whatever software we use for video chats. But it's going to be irreplaceable now that we're sort of past this COVID thing, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So I think you got the nail on the head there for sure.
Definitely. Okay. So as a business owner, the success of your organization depends on finding the right people. Please share your ideal employee. So if somebody's listening, what is your profile of the ideal employee for you that you'd want to hire? Looks like in terms of
honestly, I think it's sort of just to circle back with what we talked about of what it takes to be a plumber. We're looking for somebody that's reliable, that has some tenacity, that has some guts, that has some skill set of the plumbing trade itself, that's able to work alone and with people, that has some good communication skills, that is sympathetic, empathetic to our customers, and is willing to stay the course until that problem is solved. And once that problem is solved, is ready to tackle the next one that's in the queue, that's somebody else is waiting for you to show up and save the day. So they can, like I say, most of our stuff is business to business. And so if their, bathrooms back up, they got to close, which means they ain't making any money. So we got to be there, Johnny on the spot, to keep things flowing and make sure everything's good so that they continue that revenue stream, and there's no, break in that cycle.
Excellent. Are you hiring now?
We will be. Like I say, we've just sort of come out of our COVID thing literally yesterday, and things are picking up quickly, and we'll be looking for some qualified and quality individuals to help us be successful in our next phase of whatever the world brings our way.
Definitely. Bob, can you share, final question, can you share one lesson that you've learned that can help a new plumber coming into the business today?
I would say probably the most important lesson is to be able to pivot, to be able to roll with some punches. Like we've talked about today, the world is changing fast, and we need to be able to, all of us, and particularly those that are coming into the trade, need to be able to have their head on a swivel and be able to see what's coming and deal with the challenges that are coming our way, be able to solve those problems, be teachable, manageable, open to that continuing education. That's sort of, my grandpa knew plumbing, and once he finished his education, he was done. Like he finished his school in 1952 and never went back, never opened another textbook. You know what I mean? And obviously the internet wasn't around, so that was it. My dad was a little bit more like that. Like we've talked about today, there's new technology literally every day that affects our trade, whether it's in the equipment that we work on or the softwares that we use. The ability to never stop learning is vital. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You should learn something every damn day. If you don't, And if you don't, then you're dumb, because it, like you say, and it sounds trite every day. There's literally, you should learn something every day. I try and learn something new every day, which is why I've sort of branched out into some goats and some bees and whatever the case may be, to continue that learning process. But I think as a new tradesperson, that's what you got to be, looking to learn something every single day.
Any websites or resources that you could share that you think new plumbers could go to learn?
There's so much information on the web, on the internet. Some that stick out to mind to me that are doing just a great job for the plumbing trade in particular is mechanicalhub.com. They have lots of just great information and articles that are help, new techniques, new products. They do a great job. Of course, Rigid is cutting edge tools. If you want to see what you'll be working on in the future, or what you will be working on as a tradesperson, then you should go to Rigid and look into the tools that they're developing, that I guarantee you, if you're a plumber, one day you'll hold in your hand and use. So like you say, I could probably list off 20 of them, but those are the couple that just spring to mind, and that are doing a great job out there for and you mentioned them at the beginning. Learning and Missteps is doing a great job in exposing some of what's happening in the trade. So, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome that you guys are taking time out of your day to benefit the trades.
Thank you.
The trades have benefited me. I'm almost ready to give back, not quite yet, but I'm still trying to get some kids out of my house.
Understood. How long before they're ready to branch out on their own?
I have 2 that are out. I have 3 left. I suspect that the next 2 will be out within the next couple of years, I suspect.
Okay.
If you're listening to me, you got 2 years to get out of my house, you little buggers. And then my youngest is like 14, so she's around for another, probably 6 years or so. We'll see.
There you go.
But I can handle 1.
Yeah.
1 is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put in my 25 years, actually my 28 years. It's time to, taper off a bit.
Yeah. You have, but you know what? You'll probably miss them when they're all gone.
It's crazy. I won't lie to you. They're, even with 2 of them gone, there are moments where the house is quiet and lonely, and I'm like, wow, this is just, it's unnatural that there's nobody fighting or screaming or singing or playing the piano, whatever the case may be. It's, it's just quiet. So the change is, like we said, the change is coming.
Gotta get used to change.
I'm excited about it and terrified by it at the exact same time.
Understood. I'm sure you've done a good job raising them, so I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
Depends on the day, how.
There you go. As long as it's not Monday or Friday.
Right, Monday or Friday, just stay away. The middle of the week's not bad, but the beginning and the end is a disaster.
Understood. Well, Bob, I am so grateful for your time. I really enjoyed this. Bob, can you share how people can find you on social media?
Sure. We do most of our stuff on Instagram at Baker Plumbing. We're obviously on LinkedIn, Bob Baker, and Baker Plumbing is there. And I mean, you can Google us and all of our, it's the beauty of it. You type in Baker Plumbing Calgary and all of our social feeds and our contributions to the web miraculously appear on those lists. So we'd encourage you to follow us. We'd encourage you to ask any questions that you've got. We're not as mean or as grumpy as we look. So, well,
I can attest to that. Bob was a blast this evening to chat with you. Folks, please follow Baker Plumbing on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They've got some great content. Check out the farm and the goats. And Bob, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed it. I apologize for the snafu. But like I said,
everybody needs a rehearsal to make it even better, right?
there you go.
I
think it went better this time. Second time around. Bob,
for sure.
For your time.
Thank you very much.